today it's all about skimming for IELTS. My goodness, this is such a good skill, even if it's for people who are not doing IELTS. So let me just bring on my friend Amelia. At the end, I'm trying to invite her. Let's have a look. Amelia, if you'd like to invite yourself, that'd be great. Oh, you're there. Hello, you made it. You made it. You
Hi.
made it. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So you cycle everywhere. That's so environmentally friendly. That's a good thing, Amelia.
Yeah, it gets a little bit harder when it's when it rains in West and there's Can you hear me?
I
Yes.
can. We'll just go
Okay.
through it. Right, skimming, that's like a life hack. Everybody should be doing it, right?
Yeah, I was gonna ask how you use skimming and
Okay.
how well, yeah.
How do I use it?
Yeah,
Basically, when I
what's
need
skimming to
it,
you?
yeah, so basically, if I've got a huge document, so a big PDF file, I'll just quickly look at the subheadings, get kind of gist of it, go probably at the end on the last page and the first page, just see the introduction or the synopsis, and then I work through it. So initially, I just skim through it, like very quickly, look at keywords. That's how I do it.
Yeah. Can you imagine doing that, approaching a text without skimming first?
No, no way, no way.
Same
And
here.
under exam conditions, my goodness. So it's, you got that pressure of exams as well. So how do you manage students, with that, the skimming and with the time pressure? How does it work?
Well, I think this is precisely the cure,
Okay.
because the time pressure in IELTS test is immense.
It is.
You have 40 questions to answer within 60 minutes.
Wow.
That means 1 minute and 30 seconds per question.
No pressure?
It's no pressure at
No
all.
pressure. Yeah.
And the texts are hellishly long and complex and difficult,
Yeah.
not to mention the questions themselves. And so I absolutely love IELTS reading. Like it's my favorite of skills. When I did my test, I scored 9 within 40
Oh, wow.
minutes. I finished my test in 40 minutes, scored 9. I literally had like 20 minutes to relax before the writing test, go to the toilet, all the kind of IELTS essentials. And
Okay.
I believe I did that precisely thanks to using skimming and scanning
Yeah.
to like making sure that I use them to my advantage. And so with IELTS, it sounds counterintuitive, but actually my advice is always, and I repeat that every time I do teacher training and I teach other teachers how to teach IELTS reading. It feels counterintuitive, but it actually helps so much. And you know that yourself, right? It's much easier to find anything in the text once you have had a look at it. You laughed with me last time we did a live, my love for metaphors, but it's like, looking around a room where you don't know anybody before you enter the room, or
Okay.
having a chit chat with a stranger before you start asking them some more serious questions, right? It's like
Yeah.
getting to know the text before you look at it more deeply.
Right, right. So that's how I skim. So how should
Mhm.
one skim for the IELTS exam?
I think the most important thing is to know why you do it, and then what the kind of the principles are
Okay.
sort of behind it. So with IELTS skimming, I think the most important thing to understand and to trust is that IELTS texts are well-written texts, and it means that the most important information is always at the top. That's where we have the title, this is where we have the introduction, and this is where we have the topic sentences for the paragraphs. So this is where the essence of the text lies. And so to skim well, we need to know where to go for that kind of information. And that's where the skimming comes from. That's the cream that we
Okay.
skim off the top of the milk, right?
Okay,
And
my
so
goodness, this passion of reading, my good, I can feel it. What is it with you? It's something. Is it the water you drink? You need to know this. You like your reading,
I actually
seriously.
don't drink milk myself, but to
Okay.
help the students really get the idea, because we have such a deeply ingrained way to read where we just, dive in, head in first, and like we go for it like it's, our most favorite novel. There's no time for that in IELTS. And I do believe that IELTS specifically has been designed to be so hard, to be so difficult, for us to have no choice but to apply skimming and scanning strategies.
Okay.
So, skimming and scanning come together, obviously, and we'll talk about it at some point, probably. So skimming is that having a look around. It's also quintessential if you want to match headings to paragraphs well in IELTS. So that's a question that baffles anybody who does not understand that the heading for a paragraph is like a title for a text. And to get there very quickly, all you need to do is skim well, to understand the principle behind how the text is organized. If you dive into a paragraph and you start picking on the keywords that are inside the paragraph, then you'll probably fall in one of those traps where they take a keyword from the paragraph, give it to you as a heading, you're like, yes, I found it, and then it turns out that it's wrong, because it's not about the detail, it's about what the whole paragraph is about. And so
Just the whole gist
it's
of the
very
paragraph.
important.
Oh wow. So
Yeah.
so why is skimming so important? Because are you training students to skim first and then look at it in detail? Because that's really risky, number one. And number two, you say it's important, but then what happens if I skim but I lose the message?
I don't think you will, because again, something I invite and encourage my students to do is to skim, not because I tell them to, not because
Okay.
they read about it on one of the IELTS prep websites or in one of the IELTS course books. You do it primarily because you're curious to know
Number
what the
one.
text is about.
Okay. Okay.
And so the question is, how can I find out about the text, the most about the text, in the shortest time possible? And that brings me to I think my adventure with skimming started at school when I was in primary school, and I was one of the laziest students ever. And I
Okay.
never did my homework. Please don't follow my example, but I would arrive at school and my friends would say, well, have you read this story, or have you prepared for this test? And I was like, what test? Which story? And then I
Okay.
would literally skim
Yeah.
before entering the classroom. And that was enough for me to feel okay in case a teacher
Yeah.
asked me a question.
So that
So
saved you. That just saved you. So I just want to say a quick hello. Everybody's coming and going. Don't do that. Please ask questions. We've got
yeah.
Lawal. Hello. Thank you for coming. We've got AME. We've got I Am Boy. We've got Sir. I don't know how to
Yeah,
say
if you
it.
have any questions, please
Just ask
ask.
questions. Ask questions. So yeah. So have you actually answered the question how to skim? Because so you mentioned subheadings and keywords. Is there anything else I should be doing correctly?
Well, keywords are more like on the side of scanning, but I guess they do appear in the skimming exercise, as in my strategy is to read through the title, subtitle, if you have lucky to have one, and then the introduction and the first lines of all the paragraphs.
Okay.
Again, you're doing it with curiosity. And so if the text is, let's say, about culture, if it were enough to read the title,
Yeah.
trust me, I would not be telling you to skim. I would not be wasting your time. So
Right.
you want to skim the text and find out culture and what. it's not about taking any notes. You need to trust that your brain will hold this information in your short-term memory, and then based on that, yes. So title, introduction, and then the first lines of all the paragraphs, because that's the cream. Yes, this is where the essence of the text is. You don't have to read the conclusion, because in IELTS sometimes texts are cropped, so the last paragraph in the text may not be its in conclusion.
Got it.
So even, you know, including the last paragraph, just the first sentence of it, and that should be enough to have a very good idea about what's going on in the text.
And that technique helped you to get to a 9 in reading.
Yep.
Okay, right, you've got my attention. So basically, skimming does help. It does help. Do you know what? It's really funny you saying that, because all morning I've been working, I'm doing some British Council training, and it's just so much text. I'm just skimming. So I'm thinking I need to mention this, because when there's a lot of text, it's very heavy on the eyes, it's very draining, and I write notes. But you said in IELTS, because of the time element, there's no point writing notes. Just hope that it will work for short-term memory.
And I want to link this to the live we had a few weeks ago, whether IELTS is your friend or enemy. It's certainly your friend here, because when you have to jump that IELTS hurdle, what you're actually doing, you're preparing yourself for the challenge of making it through your academic study. I don't know about you, when I was at uni, during the first year, they gave me 15 books to read per week.
Okay, that's a lot of books. That's a lot of books.
It's physically possible. It's physically possible.
Yeah.
And so what do? You skim. You learn to find the most important information. How do you do that? Thanks to skimming, you know what the text contains. Thanks to skimming, you may see what each paragraph is about, and then from start your search for the detail you're looking for in that particular paragraph, because you know what the topic of the paragraph is. It's genius. It's beautiful. It completely changed my life. I've been skimming and scanning for over 10 years now, ever since I had to prepare for my IELTS exam properly.
Yeah,
it worked in Spanish.
It worked in Spanish.
It's incredible.
It must work, because you got to a 9, and that just shows how credible that technique is. Right, I just want to say, guys, we have got lots of students coming and going. I don't know what's going on, but if you've got a question, you must ask. Don't just be a passenger. Okay, Amelia's here for you guys. She is Delta qualified. She is an IELTS specialist. She's an enthusiast in IELTS reading, and this topic is very much from piece of her heart, really. So we've got such a long hand. We've got Fourth Man Educational Foundation. Fantastic. Paulot,
welcome.
Noel. Yep. So if you've got any questions, please ask. Right, we've got Pretty Esther. Thank you for coming. Right, so basically all I want to say is this. As you can see, some of you coming late, not a problem. You just need to start. Once we've uploaded it, you need to watch from the beginning. Amelia, you really doing your reels and lives now, I've noticed. Is that on the Monday? This is the warm-up for the real thing?
Yeah, I mean, I love being here, and I love talking about these things. So, you know, bring it. I could do it every day, really.
Oh, bless you, bless you. Ladies and gentlemen, we are very fortunate to have a very busy lady. Amelia, she is actually an active teacher. She's doing this as part of her bread and butter. It is her livelihood, IELTS and English language. Please, I'd highly recommend just go to IELTS with Amelia, with the dots in the middle. I'll put her details in the caption. Any last words, Amelia, before we sign off?
Do check my Instagram. I do have a few videos on my page about skimming, about reading, not just writing. So actually, if you want to improve your writing, definitely consider exploring the concept of skimming as well, because you will write better essays, you will write better paragraphs. So, and embrace it with that curiosity I mentioned earlier, and you will be the best reader in the room.
Fantastic. Well, as you can see, English language, if you come into the UK, as you know, we are at the forefront of language. It all happened from England. So if you'd like, there's different types of courses that you can actually go for. So if it's for academic English, if it's for exam preparation, we have Amelia here. That is her cup of tea. That's what she deals with. So if you'd like preparation with regards to your IELTS, then Amelia is the teacher for you who will be able to help you with regards to academic English, pre-sessional English, probably, you know, English for leisure, for the summer holidays, if you want all your cousins to come, UK Bright Education, we can actually help you. If it's less than 6 months, you don't need a visa. You can actually come as a visitor visa. But if your English course is more than 6 months, you will need a certain visa, especially for English language. If you'd like any more information about that, all you need to do is to DM me direct. I can help you with English language courses in either Oxford, Brighton, or London. So why not learn English during the day, and nighttime just go and take in London? Brilliant.
That's an amazing offer, Afsana. It's so difficult to find a good course these days.
Yes, definitely.
The whole industry functions in a different way. So if you have an opportunity, if you can, do come here and study English here, because you get the immersion in everything, you know, in the culture, the language, everything, and it helps immensely.
Brilliant.
So Afsana, you're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you. No, please, let's stop there. I'm just saying that Amelia is here for you guys. She is here specifically for IELTS. Please, I'd highly recommend follow her, DM her, not a problem. She is here, she's qualified, she's experienced, it's part of her livelihood. So this is her thing. Okay, right, I will take my leave. Until next time, my friend. What are we doing next week? I'm putting on his spot again. What are we doing?
I actually forgot.
I can't remember. Something fun. Usually it's fun. If it's involving Amelia, usually it's fun. So there you go. Okay, my friends. Take care.
All right.
Until next
Take
time.
care. Bye-bye.
Bye.